The silent hunters, the beacons, called the distress signal reached the Galactic Alliance Command Center on a quiet Tuesday morning. Communications Officer Lyra Voss stared at her screen, her blue-scaled fingers trembling as she decoded the message. The signal originated from the Zephyr system, a remote cluster of planets on the outer rim of known space. "Admiral Zhao, you need to see this immediately," Lyra called out, her voice cutting through the usual chatter of the command center. Admiral Chen Xiao, one of the few humans serving in the Alliance's high command, approached her station with measured steps. His weathered face showed the experience of 30 years exploring the galaxy's darkest corners. The message played through the speakers, filled with static and desperation. A voice spoke in broken galactic standard, the universal language used by all member species. "Help us. They came from nowhere. Our colonies are burning. The hunters show no mercy. Anyone receiving this, stay away from Zephyr 7. They take everyone alive. ... No one escapes." The transmission cut to silence. Xiao studied the data streaming across multiple screens. The signal carried the authentication codes of the Meridian Republic, a peaceful trading civilization known throughout the galaxy for their skilled craftsmen and philosophical wisdom. They had never been involved in any conflicts and maintained friendly relations with all species. "How old is this signal?" Xiao asked, his voice steady despite the growing concern in his chest. "Based on the transmission decay, approximately 4 days, Lyra replied. "But Admiral, there's something else. The signal is still broadcasting from multiple locations within the system. Either survivors are still alive, or someone wants us to think they are. Council's decision within hours." The Alliance Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 12 different species gathered in the Great Chamber on Harmony Station, their diverse forms creating a colorful tapestry of galactic unity. The Zephyrians, with their elegant crystal formations, the sturdy, stone-like Koroth, the graceful aquatic Delians, and many others sat in worried discussion. Chancellor Viridian, an ancient Zephyrian whose crystal body glowed with inner light, called for order. "The situation in the Zephyr system demands immediate attention. The Meridian Republic has been our faithful ally for over 2 centuries. We cannot abandon them in their time of need." Some council members voiced concerns. Representative Karak, speaking for the militant Koroth species, pounded his stone fist on the table. This could be a trap. Unknown attackers capable of defeating the Meridians so quickly are not to be underestimated. We should send a small scouting force first. Every hour we delay could mean more lives lost, countered Dr. Elaranism, the Delian representative. Her gill slits fluttered with emotion as she spoke. "The Meridians gave us the cure for the plague of shadows. We owe them our response." Admiral Zhao listened to the debate carefully. As the only human in the council, his perspective often proved valuable. Humans were relative newcomers to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 60 years ago. But their unique evolutionary background on Earth, a world the other species privately called a death world, due to its extreme environments and aggressive life forms, gave them insights others lacked. "I volunteered to lead the rescue mission," Xiao said, standing from his seat. "The Eternal Harmony and her escort fleet can reach the Zephyr system in 18 hours. We'll go in prepared for combat, but hoping for diplomacy." The Council voted unanimously to approve the mission. Zhao's flagship, the Eternal Harmony, was joined by 12 other vessels representing the combined might of the Alliance. Each ship carried the best technology and most experienced crews from their respective species. The graveyard, the journey to the Zephyr system, passed without incident. But as soon as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew knew something was terribly wrong. Before them stretched a vast field of debris, the broken remains of dozens of spacecraft floating silently in the void. Captain Talia Rodriguez, Zhao's second-in-command and fellow human, stood beside him on the bridge. Her dark eyes surveyed the destruction with growing alarm. "Admiral, I'm counting at least 60 different vessels. These aren't just Meridian ships. I see designs from the Korath Empire, Delian exploration craft, even some Voidwalker meditation vessels. How is that possible?" asked Lieutenant Commander Vex, the ship's Korath security officer. His massive frame tensed as he studied the tactical displays. "These species don't travel together. The Voidwalkers haven't left their home system in decades." Dr. Sarah Kim, the ship's human xenobiologist, was analyzing the wreckage patterns on her scanner. "Admiral, these ships weren't destroyed by conventional weapons. The damage patterns suggest they were systematically disabled. Someone wanted to board them, not destroy them." Navigation Officer Oren Quill, a Zephyrian whose crystal body pulsed with nervous energy, announced from his station, "The distress signal is originating from deeper in the system, near the 7th planet. But I'm also detecting artificial structures hidden in the asteroid belt." Xiao felt the familiar chill that had saved his life countless times during his career. His instincts, honed by growing up on humanity's dangerous homeworld, screamed warnings. "Red alert. All ships maintain defensive formation. Scan those structures in the asteroid belt." Hidden watchers. The Alliance fleet moved deeper into the system. The structures in the asteroid belt revealed themselves. Massive ships, unlike anything in the galactic databases, emerged from their hiding places among the rocks. Their design was alien in the truest sense, angular and predatory, like mechanical versions of Earth's apex predators. 12 confirmed contacts, reported Tactical Officer Jana Volkov, another human crew member. "They're big, Admiral. Each one outweighs our flagship by at least 30%, and they're moving to surround us." Captain Rodriguez gripped the command rail. "Those aren't rescue ships, they're warships." The unknown vessels took positions around the Alliance fleet with military precision. Their movements were coordinated, professional, and utterly without communication. They acted like a pack of hunters who had worked together for years. "Try to establish communication," Xiao ordered. "All frequencies, all languages in our database." Communications Officer Li Wei, working frantically at his station, shook his head. "They're jamming us, Admiral. But it's not random interference. They're actively learning our communication protocols and adapting their jamming in real time." Suddenly, the jamming stopped. The silence was more terrifying than any threat could have been. Then, through the speakers, came a voice speaking perfect galactic standard with an accent none of them recognized. "Welcome to the Zephyr system, Admiral Xiao. We've been expecting you." The voice in the dark, the bridge fell silent. Every crew member felt the chill of recognition. Someone had been waiting specifically for them, knowing they would come. Xiao stepped forward, his training taking over despite the fear creeping up his spine. "This is Admiral Chen Xiao of the Galactic Alliance. Vessel Eternal Harmony. Identify yourself and state your intentions." Laughter came through the speakers, cold and calculating. "We are what your species might call collectors, Admiral. We study the art of survival by testing it. Every species believes they have mastered the challenge of staying alive. But most have simply been fortunate enough to avoid true predators. Your responsible for the destroyed ships in this system? Zhao asked, though he already knew the answer. Each vessel represents a successful lesson. The Meridians taught us that peaceful philosophy crumbles quickly under pressure. The Korath showed us that honor in battle means nothing against superior tactics. The Voidwalkers believed their mental discipline would protect them from physical reality. They were incorrect. Dr. Kim was scanning the unknown ships, her face pale. Admiral, their technology is incredibly advanced. They're using principles I don't recognize. It's like they've taken the best aspects of every species' technology and improved upon them. The voice continued, seeming to enjoy the conversation. We have studied your alliance for some time, Admiral. Such an interesting experiment in cooperation. 12 species working together, sharing knowledge, believing that unity makes you stronger. We are curious to test this theory. Captain Rodriguez whispered urgently, Admiral, we should retreat. Whatever these beings are, we're outgunned and outnumbered. But when Navigation Officer Quill tried to initiate a jump to faster than light speed, his crystal form dimmed with despair. We're trapped, Admiral. They're generating some kind of interdiction field. Our drives won't engage. Predators gained the reality of their situation sank in. The Alliance fleet was caught in an elaborate trap, just like all the other ships whose wreckage floated around them. The unknown attackers had used the distress signal as bait, knowing that decent species would respond to a call for help. Tell us about your homeworld, Admiral, the voice continued conversationally. The other species speak of Earth with such interesting terms. They call it a death world, don't they? A place where everything tries to kill everything else. Zhao's jaw tightened. He had heard those whispers throughout his career in the Alliance. While other species evolved on worlds of plenty and peace, humans had emerged from a planet that tested them at every turn. Predators, diseases, natural disasters, climate changes, and countless other challenges had forged humanity into something unique in the galaxy. Earth taught us to adapt or die, Zhao replied carefully. But it also taught us to cooperate when facing common threats. Cooperation, the voice mused. We've heard that argument from 14 different species now. Would you like to know what we learned from testing that theory? The lights on every Alliance ship suddenly dimmed as power drained from their systems. The unknown attackers were somehow reaching into their ship's cores, stealing energy directly from their reactors. Cooperation only works when there's nothing better at hunting than anything else in the area, the voice explained. Remove that condition, and cooperation becomes just another word for easier to catch in groups. Power drain one by one. The systems on the Alliance ships began failing. The attackers weren't using conventional weapons. Instead, they were demonstrating their technological superiority by taking control of their victims' own vessels. Engineering reports power levels dropping across all systems. Captain Rodriguez announced, trying to keep her voice steady. At this rate, we'll lose life support within 6 hours. Security Chief Vex was checking his weapon systems. Defensive shields are failing. Our weapons are offline. We're completely helpless. Dr. Kim was still analyzing the enemy ships. They're not just jamming us or draining our power. They're studying us. I can detect scanning beams examining every centimeter of our hulls, learning everything about our technology, our biology, our psychology. The voice spoke again, now sounding pleased. Each species adds to our knowledge. The Zephyrians showed us how to manipulate crystalline matrices. The Korath taught us about molecular cohesion in stone-based materials. The Delians revealed secrets of fluid dynamics we had never considered. Through the viewing windows, the crew could see small objects detaching from the enemy ships and flying toward the Alliance fleet. They moved with purpose, heading for airlocks and docking bays. "And what will humans teach you?" Shao asked, stalling for time while his mind raced through possible solutions. "That is what we intend to discover. You see, Admiral, we have studied your species more than any other. Earth fascinates us, a world that produces such interesting specimens. We are very curious to see how Deathworlders perform under pressure." The boarding pods attached to the hulls of the Alliance ships with metallic thuds that echoed through the corridors. Captain Rodriguez looked at Shao with grim determination. "Orders, Admiral." Shao looked around the bridge at his crew. They were good people from different worlds, united by their shared belief in cooperation and peace. But they were about to face something that their peaceful upbringing had never prepared them for. "All crew, this is Admiral Shao," he announced, over the ship's communication system. "We are about to be boarded by hostile forces. Follow emergency protocols. Stay together, protect each other, and remember that no matter how dark things seem, the Alliance never abandons its own." The lights went out completely as the last of their power was drained away. In the darkness, they could hear the sound of cutting tools working on their airlocks. The hunters were coming aboard, confident in their superiority, certain of their victory. But they had made one crucial error in their calculations. They had never faced humans who were truly cornered, truly desperate, and truly angry. Earth's children were about to remind the galaxy why their homeworld was called a death world. Asterisk. When Earth's children hunt the missing fleet, General Sarah Cross stood in the Situation Room deep beneath Geneva, staring at the holographic display that showed the last known position of Admiral Zhao's fleet. 3 days had passed since the Eternal Harmony and her escort vessels had disappeared into the Zephyr system. Every attempt to re-establish contact had failed, leaving only an ominous silence from the outer rim. Around the table sat humanity's most experienced military commanders. General Marcus Webb, the grizzled veteran of the Mars Liberation Campaign. Admiral Lisa Chen, whose tactical brilliance had ended the Titan Rebellion without a single civilian casualty. Colonel James Rivers, the former Special Forces operative who had never lost a man in 30 years of impossible missions. "Give me the situation report," Cross ordered, her voice cutting through the tension in the room. Intelligence Director Maya Patel activated the holographic display. "At 0800 hours 3 days ago, we lost all communication with Admiral Zhao's diplomatic fleet. Their last transmission was a routine navigation update as they entered the Zephyr system. Since then, nothing." Admiral Chen leaned forward. "Could it be equipment failure? Solar interference?" "Negative," Patel replied. "We've sent 3 unmanned probes to the system. 2 were destroyed before they could transmit data. The 3rd managed to send back partial images before it was also eliminated." The hologram flickered, showing brief glimpses of a massive debris field. "That's the wreckage of dozens of ships, including what appears to be pieces of Alliance vessels." The room fell silent. Everyone present understood the implications. If Admiral Zhao's experienced fleet had been destroyed, whatever they were facing was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Colonel Rivers studied the tactical data. Any intelligence on the attackers? Unknown species, unknown capabilities, Patel admitted. But based on the debris patterns and the systematic destruction of our probes, we're dealing with someone who uses the Zephyr system as a trap. They lure in rescue missions, then eliminate them. General Cross felt the familiar weight of command settling on her shoulders. As the highest-ranking human in Earth's military, the decision would be hers. Options. General Webb spoke first. We mobilize the entire home fleet. Hit them with everything we have before they can expand their operations. That could be exactly what they want, Admiral Chen countered. If they're capable of destroying Alliance ships, sending more targets might not be the solution. Colonel Rivers had been quietly studying the tactical display. General, what do we know about how these attackers operate? They appear to use deception and superior technology, Patel replied. Fake distress signals, advanced jamming, systematic power drains. They disable ships rather than destroy them immediately, suggesting they want prisoners or they're studying. They're victims. Rivers nodded slowly. Classic predator behavior. They separate prey from the herd, disable them, then study them at leisure. He looked up at Cross. General, I think we're approaching this wrong. Everyone's thinking like prey. War Council Cross studied the faces around the table. These were humans who had grown up on Earth, shaped by millions of years of evolution on a world that had tried to kill their ancestors every single day. They understood predation in ways that the peaceful species of the Alliance never could. Explain your thinking, Colonel, Cross ordered. Rivers stood and began pacing around the holographic display. Every species in the Alliance evolved on what they consider normal worlds, peaceful environments where cooperation was rewarded and aggression was rare. But Earth was different. Our ancestors didn't just compete with each other. They had to survive ice ages, volcanic eruptions, meteor impacts, and countless predators that were bigger, stronger, and more specialized than they were. General Webb nodded grimly. Natural selection on steroids. Exactly. While other species learned to cooperate, humans learned to hunt. We became persistence predators, pack hunters, tool users. We developed pattern recognition that could track wounded prey across continents. We learned to think like our enemies, to anticipate their moves, to turn their own advantages against them. Admiral Chen was beginning to see where Rivers was going. You're suggesting we don't fight them like the Alliance would. We hunt them like humans would. I'm suggesting we remember what we are, Rivers replied. Earth didn't produce diplomats and philosophers as our apex representatives. It produced predators who learned to cooperate. When cornered, humans don't just defend, we attack. Cross looked around the table. What would that look like operationally? Colonel Rivers manipulated the holographic display, zooming in on the Zephyr system. These attackers have been successful because they control the engagement. They choose when and where to fight. They use superior technology to disable their enemies, and they've never faced anything that could match their hunting skills. So we changed the rules, General Webb said, understanding dawning in his eyes. We become the hunters, Rivers confirmed. We don't send a diplomatic mission or a rescue fleet. We send a pack of predators who know how to kill. The Deathworld advantage within hours. General Cross had assembled a task force unlike anything humanity had ever deployed. Instead of the usual diplomatic vessels or standard military ships, she selected the most dangerous craft in Earth's arsenal. Stealth frigates designed for deep space reconnaissance. Hunter-killer submarines modified for zero-gravity warfare. Special operations transports equipped with the most advanced human technology. The crews were chosen just as carefully. No diplomats, no Alliance observers, no one who might hesitate when violence became the only option. These were humans who had grown up in Earth's most dangerous environments. Former asteroid miners who had survived countless equipment failures in the vacuum of space. Deep ocean researchers who had faced the crushing darkness of Earth's deepest trenches. Mountain rescue specialists who had spent their lives pulling people back from the edge of death. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge of the UES Shadowhawk, the task force's flagship. Unlike the open, welcoming bridges of Alliance vessels, this ship was designed for war. Dark surfaces absorbed sensor scans. Redundant systems could operate even under massive damage, and every piece of equipment was built to function in the worst possible conditions. Status report, Vasquez ordered as they approached the edge of the Zephyr system. Lieutenant Commander David Park, her tactical officer, studied his displays. All ships report ready. Stealth systems are operating at maximum efficiency. If the enemy uses the same sensor technology that defeated the Alliance fleet, they won't see us coming. Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez looked up from her station. Ma'am, I've been analyzing the data from the destroyed probes. The attackers use some kind of technology drain that disables conventional power systems. But our ships use hybrid fusion antimatter reactors with manual backups. Even if they drain our main power, we can still fight. Navigator Tom Johnson, a former deep space explorer, was plotting their approach vector. Captain, I recommend we avoid the direct route Admiral Shao took. These hunters will expect us to follow standard Alliance protocols. Instead, we come in through the system's outer comet field, using natural cover to mask our approach. Vasquez smiled grimly. Do it. Remember, people, we're not here to negotiate or rescue prisoners. We're here to eliminate a threat to humanity and our allies. These things have been hunting peaceful species for who knows how long. Today, they learn what it means to be hunted by something from a death world. Silent approach, the human task force infiltrated the Zephyr system like ghosts, while Alliance ships moved in formation and broadcast their peaceful intentions. The humans slipped through space using techniques learned from hunting on Earth. They moved with the patience of persistent predators, taking 3 days to cover, a distance they could have traveled in hours. Captain Vasquez monitored the progress from her command center, surrounded by displays showing the positions of her ships and the enemy. Unlike the Alliance fleet, which had stayed together for mutual protection, the humans spread out across the entire system. Each ship took a different vector, approaching the central trap from multiple directions simultaneously. We're getting good intelligence on their capabilities, reported Intelligence Officer Sarah Kim. 12 large vessels, similar to what destroyed Admiral Zhao's fleet. They're positioned around a debris field that includes at least 60 destroyed ships. The attackers appear to be using captured Alliance vessels as bait, broadcasting distress signals to lure in more victims. Any sign of survivors? Vasquez asked. Possible. We're detecting life signs on several of the captured ships, but we can't confirm if they're prisoners or the attackers themselves. Lieutenant Commander Park studied the tactical situation. Captain, the enemy ships are maintaining the same positions they used against the Alliance fleet. They're confident in their superiority, probably expecting us to follow standard diplomatic protocols. Vasquez nodded. They've been successful using the same tactics repeatedly. They have no reason to change their approach. She activated the task force communication system. All ships, this is Shadowhawk. Execute Hunter Protocol. Remember, we are not the Alliance. We do not announce ourselves. We do not attempt negotiation. And we do not give second chances. These beings have killed thousands of innocent people. Today, we end their hunting season. Reverse psychology, the human ships took their final positions in complete silence. Unlike their enemies, who had revealed themselves when they felt they had the advantage. The humans remained hidden until the very last moment. They had studied the attackers' methods, learned their patterns, and prepared countermeasures for every tactic the aliens had used against previous victims. Captain Vasquez watched her tactical display as the other human ships reported ready status. The UES Night Stalker, commanded by Captain John Rivers, the colonel's younger brother, was positioned above the enemy formation. The UES Deep Strike, under Captain Maria Santos, approached from the system's edge, where her crew's experience with deep ocean warfare gave them advantages in the darkness of space. 8 other ships completed the encirclement, each commanded by officers who understood that sometimes the only way to stop a predator was to become something more dangerous. All ships report ready, Park announced. We have confirmed targets on all 12 enemy vessels. They're still broadcasting fake distress signals, apparently expecting another rescue mission. Chief Engineer Martinez looked up from her station. Captain, I've isolated their power drain technology. It works by creating a sympathetic resonance with standard Alliance reactor cores. But our reactors use completely different principles. Their drain won't work on us, and they're jamming. Vasquez asked. Communications Officer Lisa Wang smiled coldly. We're not using standard Alliance communication protocols. We're using encrypted quantum entanglement communicators based on Earth military technology. They can't jam what they can't understand. Vasquez took a deep breath. Everything they had planned came down to the next few minutes. All ships initiate attack sequence in 10 seconds. Remember, show them what humans learned from Earth. The pack strikes. The attack began with the sudden appearance of 12 human warships, emerging from stealth mode simultaneously around the alien formation. But instead of the expected demands for surrender or attempts at communication, the humans opened fire immediately. The weapons they used were unlike anything in the Alliance arsenal. Instead of the energy beams and particle cannons favored by peaceful species, the humans employed kinetic weapons based on Earth's most ancient hunting tools. Railgun projectiles accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed struck the alien ships before their sensors could even register the attack. Captain Vasquez watched with satisfaction as her tactical display showed the results. Direct hits on targets 7 and 9. Their venting atmosphere. The alien ships responded quickly, attempting to use the same power drain technology that had disabled the Alliance fleet. But as Chief Engineer Martinez had predicted, their weapons had no effect on human reactor technology. Enemy power drain. Attempt detected and ignored, Martinez reported. Our reactors are operating at full capacity. All weapon systems online. The aliens tried their jamming next, flooding space with interference designed to disable communication and navigation systems. Again, the human ships were unaffected. They're trying to jam us, Communications Officer Wang announced. It's not working. They don't understand our technology any better than we initially understood theirs. For the first time in their hunting careers, the aliens found themselves facing prey that fought back effectively. Their victims weren't following the expected patterns of panic and desperate defense. Instead, the humans moved like a coordinated pack, each ship supporting the others while maintaining their own tactical advantages. Captain John Rivers, commanding the Night Stalker from above the enemy formation, reported through the quantum communicator. Shadowhawk, this is Night Stalker. We've isolated 3 enemy vessels from their main formation. They're trying to retreat to the asteroid field. Negative, Night Stalker, Vasquez replied. Let them go. We want them to feel safe in their hiding place. Then we spring the real trap. No survivors as the battle continued. The The fundamental difference between the human approach and previous Alliance encounters became clear. The aliens had grown accustomed to facing species that valued all life, that sought diplomatic solutions, that hoped for peaceful resolutions even when attacked. Humans, shaped by millions of years of evolution on Earth, had no such limitations. When an alien ship tried to surrender by powering down its weapons, Captain Santos of the Deep Strike didn't hesitate. Surrender not accepted. These beings are responsible for thousands of deaths. They understand only predation. We respond in kind. The alien ship was destroyed in seconds. When another enemy vessel attempted to flee the system, carrying information about human capabilities that could be used against Earth in the future, Captain Rivers' Night Stalker pursued it into the asteroid field, using techniques learned from hunting in Earth's most dangerous environments. The human crew tracked their prey through the rocks and eliminated it before it could escape. One by one, the alien hunters fell to humanity's superior tactics. The humans had spent their entire evolutionary history learning to kill things that were bigger, stronger, and better equipped than they were. These aliens, despite their advanced technology, had never faced anything that could match their hunting instincts. The final alien ship, damaged and desperate, tried one last gambit. Through their communication system, a voice spoke in perfect galactic standard. We surrender. We offer to share our technology, our knowledge of other species, our understanding of advanced hunting techniques. Surely we can reach an accommodation. Captain Vasquez listened to the offer in silence. Around her, the bridge crew waited for orders. In the background, they could hear reports from the other ships. The alien fleet was effectively destroyed. The threat to Alliance shipping had been eliminated. Response, Captain Lieutenant Commander Park asked. Vasquez thought about Admiral Zhao and his crew, probably dead in the wreckage of their ships. She thought about the dozens of other vessels floating in the system's debris field, each representing crews who had died trying to help strangers in distress. She thought about the peaceful species of the Alliance, who had never learned the harsh lessons that Earth had taught humanity. Tell them we accept their surrender, she said finally. Park looked surprised. Captain Vasquez smiled coldly. Tell them we accept their surrender the same way they accepted the surrenders of the 60 ships they destroyed in this system. The final alien ship died in fire and silence. 3 hours later, the human task force had completed its mission. Every alien vessel had been destroyed, their technology captured or eliminated to prevent it from being used against other species. In the wreckage of the Alliance ships, they found survivors, including Admiral Zhao and most of his crew, who had been kept alive for study. As the rescue operations concluded, Captain Vasquez stood on her bridge, looking out at the debris field that had once been a trap for peaceful species. The hunters were dead, and the galaxy was a little bit safer. Message from Earth Command. Communications Officer Wang announced. General Cross wants a full report. Tell her the mission is complete, Vasquez replied. No alien survivors. All Alliance prisoners recovered. The Zephyr system is secure. She paused, thinking about what they had learned from this encounter. The other species of the Alliance saw Earth as a death world, a place too dangerous to produce civilized beings. But sometimes the galaxy needed something uncivilized. Sometimes it needed predators who could hunt the hunters. And tell her that the next time someone threatens Alliance shipping, they should remember what happened here. Earth's children don't just defend their territory, they eliminate threats. The human task force departed the Zephyr system, leaving behind only empty space where the alien hunters had once waited for their prey. The trap had been broken, the predators eliminated, and the galaxy's peaceful species could continue their journeys in safety. But deep in the archives of Earth Command, the encounter was classified and studied, because somewhere in the vast darkness, between stars, there might be other hunters, other threats that diplomacy couldn't stop. And when that day came, humanity would be ready to remind the galaxy why Earth was called a death world, and why its children were the most dangerous predators in known space. Asterisk.